Hey, Betty, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today we're diving into this video from Hypnovibes.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Jeju Air Incident, A Soul's Message. You familiar with it?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen this one. I love Naomi's work with hypno-channeling.
It's so interesting, right? It's like she's tapping into this universal wisdom, and it's not really Navi talk. It's like a whole other energy coming through.
Right, exactly. It's like Navi's just the conduit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this video, it's about the Jeju air crash back in 2009. It was a Boeing 737, tragic, 179 fatalities.
Wow.
Yeah. But what's really wild is how Naomi specifically calls for the appropriate energy, linked to the incident.
Yeah, that's crucial in hypno-channeling. It's about setting that clear intention right from the start.
Totally. So this energy comes through and identifies as Lim, who was a passenger on the flight. And right away, Lim says some things that are like, whoa.
Like what?
Well, for example, Lim says, my energies have been dispersed throughout the multiverse. And then they say, I myself have gone to an interesting in-between planet.
Whoa.
Right. It's like, what does that even mean, Betty? What are your thoughts on that?
It really makes you think about life and death differently. Like maybe it's not so black and white as we think,
Yeah, and that whole multiverse thing. Like, are we really all connected on some level?
Could be. And this in-between planet thing.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Right. What is that exactly?
Right. Is that their final destination, or is Lim just passing through?
Yeah, it feels like they're in transit.
Exactly. And they talk about needing closure before moving on. Lim says, you cannot roll over your energies from a previous place and continue in this in-between planet.
Closure. Interesting. What does that even mean in this context? Like, what are we talking about here?
Right. What kind of energy is left behind after something as traumatic as a plane crash?
Yeah. And how do you even resolve that?
It gets even more complicated because then Lim mentions a friend who does not want to continue and wants to stay in the Earth realm.
Oh, wow. Like a lost soul.
Exactly. Like those last souls that Naomi talks about sometimes.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what causes a soul to stay earthbound,
Totally. And what happens to them. But, okay, here's where things get really crazy. When Naomi asks about the cause of the crash, Lim completely denies any mechanical failure or pilot error. Instead, they say the ascension process itself does not allow certain souls to be present at this time.
The ascension process. Okay, so we need to unpack that. What is that all about?
Right. And what does it mean to not be ready for it?
Well, the ascension process is often described as this big shift in consciousness, like moving to a higher vibration. So maybe those who aren't ready are just not aligned with that shift.
So maybe they're holding on to something.
Possibly. Could be unresolved lessons or attachments to the material world.
So essentially, Lim is suggesting that these souls chose to leave this reality. Like they opted out of this whole earthly shift thing that's happening.
It's a wild thought, right?
Totally wild. And then Lim says they actually chose this experience before they even incarnated. And that they chose a specific reality to experience when the opening occurs.
Whoa. So destiny versus free will. What do you think, Betty?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if we actually have control over our lives or if it's all predetermined.
Big questions, right?
Huge. But Lim also talks about their experience of leaving their body. They said it was traumatizing at first, but then felt peace and love.
It's like those near-death experiences people talk about, that feeling of peace and connection after the initial shock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So is that shaped by our individual beliefs, or is there like a universal element to crossing over?
Good question. What do you think?
I don't know. It's all so mysterious, right? But I love how Lim even comments on Naomi's energy. It's kind of funny.
What do they say?
Then says, interesting, wanting to know more too serious at times, needs to lighten up.
Huh. That's great. Even in these deep spiritual explorations, there's room for humor.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it shows that Lim sees Naomi as a person, flaws.
Yeah.
It's like this beautiful connection between two very different beings. Have you ever felt that, Betty? Like you just knew something about someone, like you had this insight.
It's like intuition, right? That knowing that goes beyond our five senses.
Exactly. Okay, so as we get to the end of this part of our deep dive, I want to emphasize Lim's final message. Every second is beautiful. It's precious.
It's a good reminder, isn't it?
So powerful, especially considering what Lim has shared about, the potential brevity of life and maybe even the pre-planned nature of it all.
Yeah, for sure. Makes you think about how you're spending your time.
It really does. So, Betty, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back to continue this deep dive into the Jeju air incident and Lim's incredible message. Stay with us.
We'll be right back. Makes you think about your priorities.
Yeah, like, am I really making the most of my time?
Right. And this whole idea that we might have chosen our experiences before we even got here, that's a lot to process.
It's mind-blowing.
Think about it, Betty. If this idea resonates with you, it could totally change how you view things, like not just the Jeju Air incident, but like any challenge in your life.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, instead of seeing those tough times as just random bad luck, maybe we can see them as opportunities for growth.
Exactly. Finding the meaning even in the chaos.
Yeah. Okay, so let's like zoom out for a second, try to connect all these dots, right? We've got this ascension process happening, a cosmic shift in consciousness.
Yeah.
But not everyone's on board.
Right. Some aren't ready.
And some souls, like those on that flight, they choose to exit this reality during this transition.
Yeah, and who knows why? Maybe they learned what they needed to here, or maybe they just weren't feeling this reality anymore.
And then there's this whole closure thing. Souls needing to process their experiences, even the traumatic ones, before moving on.
Yeah, it's like death isn't just the end, it's a transition.
And everything we do here matters.
Our choices, the lessons we learn, all of it.
And what about those lost souls? The ones who stick around?
Yeah, what's their deal? Are they stuck?
It's like there's so much we don't know about the afterlife.
It's a mystery.
You know, before we started talking about this video, the Jeju air crash was just like another sad news story for me.
Yeah.
Like it's something that happened to other people.
I get
But hearing Lim's perspective, it's like it suddenly became so personal.
It's like another layer of understanding.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't make the tragedy any less real, but it makes you think.
It adds a spiritual dimension to it.
And it's not about agreeing with everything Lim said either. It's about being open to different perspectives.
Exactly. Thinking critically, questioning what we think we know.
So Betty, what are your thoughts on all this? What are your takeaways?
Yeah, what resonates with you? What questions do you have?
Yeah, because there are no right or wrong answers here.
It's all about what feels true for you.
And if you're interested in learning more about these ideas, Naomi has this amazing book series called The Next Level You.
It's on Amazon.
Yeah. It goes deep into all this stuff.
Yeah.
Ascension, past lives, soul contracts, all that.
It's a great resource for anyone on a spiritual journey.
For sure. And even if you don't agree with everything Naomi or Lim say, it's good to be open-minded.
Yeah, challenge those assumptions.
Because that's what life's all about, right?
Yeah.
Learning and growing and expanding our awareness.
Totally. Embracing the journey and all the possibilities.
So, Betty, as we continue this deep dive, let's keep that sense of curiosity and wonder alive. It's so easy to forget that every second is precious. Like we get caught up in the daily grind and
Totally. We forget to slow down and just appreciate what we have.
for sure. And, before we started this deep dive with you, Betty, the Jeju air incident was just another one of those tragic news stories to me. Like something that happened somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get that. It's hard to wrap your head around those big tragedies.
Right. But hearing Lim's story, it's like the whole thing suddenly became so personal.
It's like you're seeing it from a whole new perspective.
Exactly. It doesn't change the tragedy of it all, but it adds this like spiritual dimension to it.
Like there's more to the story than we initially thought.
Exactly. And it's not about like believing everything Lim said. It's just about being open to the possibility that there's more going on than we realize.
Right. It's about being open-minded and questioning our assumptions.
Totally. So Betty, as we wrap up this deep dive into the Jeju air incident and Lim's message, I hope it's given you some things to think about. Maybe it's challenged some of your beliefs or sparked some new questions about life and death and all that.
It's been a wild ride.
Totally wild. And if you want to explore these ideas further, you should check out Naomi's book series, The Next Level You.
It's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's a great resource for anyone who's interested in consciousness and spirituality and all that good stuff.
Definitely. And remember, Betty, even if you don't agree with everything Naomi or Lim say, it's all about expanding your awareness and exploring different perspectives.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
So keep those minds open, everyone, and keep exploring. Until next time.
See ya!
I like to invite the energy, whatever the appropriate energy that has everything to do with this airline, Jeju Air, which is a Boeing 737, and there are about 179 people killed. So whatever the appropriate energy can come through to let us know what is the truth behind this. So when I count to 3, the energy will be here. 1, coming through this body. 2, almost here. And 3.
Hello,
Yes, very good. Thank you for being here. Who I'm speaking with?
passenger.
You are one of the passengers, and are you alive or you moved on?
I moved on.
So can you tell me more now? What do you understand about this crash? Not a crash, but it's...
Well, energies have been dispersed throughout the universe, the multiverse.
What is the
I myself have gone to an interesting in-between planet.
in between planets?
Yes.
So you're still non-physical. You're not getting, how to say, you're not at the destination yet.
No.
And do you remember that you made, let's say, some sort of agreement about this?
We have.
So what is the purpose to do this together?
Our mission was complete in this world, so our services were needed somewhere else.
What's your first name?
Lim,
I'm sorry?
L-I-M,
Oh, okay. So that is the last name.
doesn't have to be.
Where are you going to?
Like I said, an in-between planet.
Why you are not there yet?
Choose to experience on the emotions that have occurred.
You need some sort of
Closure.
adjustment?
Need closure. I
Okay.
need closure on what has happened.
Oh, what does that mean? What do you do with that?
You cannot roll over your energies from a previous place and continue it in this in-between planet. It's not,
So you
Just not-
need some sort of closure?
yes.
I never heard that before. Can you tell us more about this part? And do you communicate with other souls who are like you from this event?
A friend was there, but he does not want to continue.
Your father
My friend,
or friend? He does not want to continue?
yes.
What does that mean?
He wants to stay stuck in the earth realm, does not want to continue.
So stay stuck means they want to stay in the realm they don't belong to
Yes.
because they feel
He
they...
chooses to.
We can call those the lost souls
Can't.
because we have a lot here in this office. Are you male or female?
Male.
Okay. So what else I want to say? So what is the true cause of this incident? There's that we can understand. It's not the bird. It's not just the pilots are not careful enough. It's something else.
The ascension process itself does not require certain souls to be present, and
Can you say one more time?
the ascension process itself does not allow certain souls to be present at this time. That is why these situations happen, to help navigate souls that are not ready for that,
For what?
for the ascension process, for that grand event.
I understand. I think I heard what you're saying, but I'm not sure if I understand the true reason for this to happen. Certain souls, they're
Choose not to be at this time. They're not ready to go through that process at this time, so they choose to go through a certain situation to help them.
I see. So I can say they're not ready for the shift that's
Yes,
happening here.
yes.
Wow, so interesting.
But that does not mean that they are lesser than the ones currently going through it.
So they decide to say this.
Do not see it as a tragedy.
Right, of course. So they decide to leave this world this way. Is they made a decision? Is they're here, or is before they came to Earth?
Pre-planned, yes,
It's still pre-planned.
yes.
Okay. They know there's going to be a big shift on Earth before they incarnate.
Yes.
And so do they know which reality they're going to be in? The reality that...
Are you talking about the passengers that gone through that accident?
Yes.
They choose their,
To go to a different reality
yes,
when there's no open contact there.
yes.
I see. How about you? You have a different reason. Is it just you finished what you needed to do here?
Yes.
Okay. To let your family know that you did not die. I'm sure they are maybe grief, pain, sadness.
My family life was already broken by the
Oh.
time this happened, but their lives will go on.
So do you or others, let's say, go to the family's members' dream, try to explain to them what this is up to? That's
Curiosity is there, the answer will come, but does not suit them, it will not.
if that's the case, then they're not ready for it.
Yes.
See.
It will shock them if they're not ready.
It's not going to serve
No.
for any
It will
good purpose.
do more damage than good.
That makes sense. So So we can say there's never true accident. There's always a spiritual reason
There's always a
behind.
purpose. There's always a lesson or reason. Nothing happens for not in the way humans say as bad luck or good luck.
Right. So when you are human, you are not a spiritual person. You didn't
I was
know.
a teacher,
You were a teacher.
a traditional sense of the teacher.
Okay. As soon as you left the body, then you kind of remembered.
Yes. First was shock, then was relief.
See, what was the moment like?
Traumatizing.
So a lot of fear first.
Yes. Then the last moments of peace and love.
This is like we hear those from people who had a near-death experience.
Yes.
But those people came back. But right, so we don't know if that's really the case. It seems what they're saying is the case.
In what way?
Because they can have a different experiences, each person.
Yes. Depending on their belief system.
Right. I used to watch those and I was so fascinated. All have different experiences, but there are a lot of things in
The one in
common.
this body watches that as well.
The one
And this body watches those as well.
on Navi, okay, watched hundreds. So you can feel this body's energy.
I can.
How do you feel about this person's energy?
Interesting.
What does that mean?
Always thinking to want to know more, wanting to know more.
Oh, okay.
That's satisfying.
Okay.
Side to him.
You just know.
Too serious at times too. Lighten up.
He's what?
Needs to lighten up.
Has a lot of curiosity.
You know.
Good. And I really appreciate this communication. And hopefully this message will make some people understand there's much more in life. Shouldn't waste this life. And if we
Second is beautiful.
say it again,
Every second is beautiful.
it's
It's how you
precious.
choose to see it.
Right, because we can feel, we can smell, we can touch.
The senses of humans is extraordinary if you choose to see it in the way that it was meant to be.
I see.
People feel discouraged and feel as if their situation, their worth, their understanding of what they can contribute is worthless when it really isn't.
Or we take it for granted.
Yes,
I know. So you feel this life is precious.
it is.
And have you been here before?
Numerous times.
Ah,
Yes,
wow. You did it.
yes.
Very good. And thank you, Lim. I know that's just your human name. I hope you will find whatever the best place for you to be and stay and enjoy the coming
Adventure,
journey. And thank you again.
of course.
And I'll let you go.
Yes.